Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Loving Kindness Meditation here at the Dharma Temple Online Edition. I'm up here in North County. My name is Alex. It is wonderful to be with you today, and so I got all cleaned up for you, and I hope you are all doing well. Sorry for a little bit of the trouble we were having. I clicked on Go Live and it was just kind of stuck on Go Live, like it was buffering for a while or something like that. And then I just reloaded the page. So still say hello. I'm going to go ahead and type something here in the chat. So say hello when you get a chance. All right. So are you still here? Do you still see me? Let me know if you do. And I know there's like a 10 whatever second delay, so I know it might take a minute. Okay, good. You are here with me. That is wonderful to have. Hello, Tamara. Hello, Brian and Linda. Hello, Jean. I know you're there as well. And, again, wonderful to be here with you today. Yes, you can see me and you can hear me. That is all wonderful. Here I am in my office. Will I be here? I won't be here. Just FYI, I won't be here next week. Will I? Well, maybe. I'm actually traveling, but I still might be able to do this from my hotel room. We'll see. All right. So if there's anyone listening this is your first time here, this is a loving kindness meditation class. We do a loving kindness meditation. It's about 25 to 30 minutes. And the word that we're talking about when we say loving kindness, it's really a lot more than that. The word that we're talking about is called metta, M-E-T-T-A. And this wonderful word metta comes from the Pali language from a couple millennia ago. It was a language that was pretty close to what the historical Buddha spoke. And, we still use this word to this day. But when it's translated into English, it can mean loving kindness, unconditional friendliness, goodwill. And it's simply a wish to be happy, a wish for ourselves to be happy, a wish for others to be happy. And not only that, a wish for ourselves and others to do the things that cause happiness, right? We want people to do the things that cause happiness. So often when I hear this meditation, I hear it as, may you have happiness and the causes of happiness, like you receive something. And, loving kindness it's an action verb. So you're doing something. And so I like to say, may you be happy and may you do the things that cause happiness. And if you want to know what causes happiness, you just have to know the motto of the Dharma Temple. The motto of the Dharma Temple is think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. That's it. That's a real simplified way of kind of what we're trying to do. Your kind, well-intentioned, skillful thoughts, words, and actions, those are the things that cause happiness. They lead to happiness, right? And so that's what we're trying to do. And there's something, let's see, we got plenty of time today, obviously. So what I wanted to do is I was talking a little bit about it either last week or a couple of weeks ago. This is, here you go. You can see it. Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra. And this little bitty book actually is in our library. There's a few copies left in the library. And, the Heart Sutra is a Mahayana sutra. It's very, very short. And it is said to contain the essence of all of the Buddha's teachings. And it talks a little bit about what I was talking about, again, a while ago, about when we're trying to describe nirvana, the final goal, the unconditioned, the deathless, right? And it's something that, it's really hard to do. I was talking about to describe the unconditioned with conditioned language. Language is conditioned. Words are conditioned. And so to describe, something that's unconditioned with conditioned words, it's really hard to do, and you can't do it. Like any word you would talk about or say or use would be completely unsatisfactory. Even if you throw the whole dictionary of words of every single language, it would be completely unsatisfactory. And so how we really try to get to it and understand it is by telling you what it's not. And this really helps me because if I can kind of get, like when you say the end of suffering, I get that because I get suffering. And so I want that to end. And I imagine what that would feel like. All right, so I'm going to read the Heart Sutra. We have plenty of time. This is only going to take like maybe 2 minutes, actually probably shorter. And this particular version is by Xuanzang. And Xuanzang was a Chinese translator in the 7th century. There were a couple of Chinese translators. One was called Kumarajiva. He was in like the later 4th and early 5th century, and then Xuanzang was in the 7th century. They all went down to India and got all these sutras and brought them back to China and translated them all into Chinese, which was really something that was really important because around a few hundred years later, India went through a whole lot of turmoil and invasions, and Buddhism died out, and a lot of these sutras were saved in the Chinese tradition. So that was really something that was very, very important. So again, I'm going to read this. And this starts off with the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara kind of talking to the Buddha's main disciple, one of his main disciples, Sariputra. Okay, and it goes, the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, while practicing the profound prajna paramita, saw clearly that all 5 skandhas are empty, thus overcoming all suffering. Sariputra, he says, form is no different from empty, empty no different from form. Form is just empty, empty is just form. Sensation, perception, volition, and consciousness are also like this. So these are the 5 skandhas: form, sensation, perception, volition, and consciousness. These are the things that are empty. Sariputra, this is the emptiness of all dharmas. They neither arise nor cease, are neither defiled nor pure, neither increase or decrease. For this reason, within emptiness, there is no form, no sensation, perception, volition, or consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, or mind, no sight, sound, scent, taste, touch, or thought, no seeing, even no thinking, no ignorance, no end of ignorance, even no aging and death, nor end of aging and death, no suffering, origin, cessation, or path, no wisdom, and no attainment. Because nothing is attained, bodhisattvas maintain prajna paramita, and their heart is without hindrance. And since without hindrance, without fear, escaping upside down, dreamlike thinking, all completely realizing nirvana, all Buddhas of all times maintain prajna paramita, thus attaining anuttara samyak sambodhi. Hence, know, prajna paramita is the all-powerful mantra, the all-enlightening mantra, the unexcelled mantra, the unequaled mantra able to dispel all suffering. This is true and not false. Therefore, proclaim the prajna paramita mantra. Recite the mantra thus: Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. And there's lots of words to translate, especially that last mantra. But as you see, it says, when you're talking about nirvana, they describe it as what it's not what it is. No suffering, no aging, no death. No. And you can imagine when people first heard this, them being just kind of a bit overcome. Because usually if you want to describe something, you describe what it is. You don't describe what it's not. But with nirvana, with the unconditioned, you can't describe it with conditioned words. You can only really describe it by what it's not to get kind of the idea of what it is. And so this word, this sutra, is translated, is chanted daily by so many in the Mahayana tradition. And if you take a look at the very last mantra, or the last line, which is the mantra, gate, gate, paragate, samgate, bodhisvaha, it's kind of hard to translate into English. It's kind of like gone, gone, gone beyond, really gone beyond, that kind of thing. So be it, that kind of thing. That would, that's a really bad kind of English translation, but that's really the best that I can do for that. And again, this whole sutra, when you read it and you chant it every day, and you look to understand its meaning and its encapsulating of the entirety of the Buddha's teachings, it's incredibly profound. Incredibly profound, because one of the things that it tries to get you to do is to not hold on to things, not hold on to ideas and practices and ways of thinking and beliefs and this and that. It's saying let go of all of that. Nirvana is letting go of all of it. All of those things happen in the conditioned world, and we're trying to talk about what is unconditioned. So what you can do is you can get English translations online, and again, people recite this every day, and there are books on it, and there are so many books on it. It's such a short sutra. As you can see, it only took me just like a minute to recite. And I even stopped for a little bit for some commentary really quickly. And so, a lot of times it's really good to reflect on, if you don't want to suffer, if you're going through a hard time, or if you just want to understand more about what is the Buddha teaching, you really understand it here in your heart. You read this and you try to penetrate this, right? Or penetrate the reality of what this teaching is. So, I wanted to read that first and foremost before we did our loving kindness meditation. You're welcome. All right. So really quickly, before we do that, is there anyone here that is brand new? Who's new to the loving kindness class? Does it look like it? That's okay. Have to be. If you are, just let me know. Say hi. Got my bowl. Cleaning it out. There we go. All right. Let's do this, guys. So just allow your eyes to close, making sure you have that nice, comfortable, and sustainable position so you're not likely to move around too much. And when we sit like a Buddha. And you can even imagine yourselves as a Buddha. Sitting underneath your own tree of enlightenment, and you can pick your own tree. And it's perfectly to imagine yourselves as a Buddha. Let's just gently start to pay attention to the breath, because you always want to keep about 25% of your attention on the breath in any meditation so that you're connected to the present moment. So let's just take a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. Not forcing it, letting it be quite easy and quite natural at first. And just kind of focusing your attention when you breathe in and out, focusing your attention at the base of the nostrils here. Feeling the air go in and feel it nourish the body. This breath and breath energy. Feeling the air go out. So just for the next couple of minutes, just rest as gently as you can in the sensations of the breath. And now to begin our practice of this loving kindness or metta meditation, we're going to start with our benefactor. And again, you know, a benefactor is anyone who has shown you great love and great kindness. And just radiate loving kindness to them, wishing them happiness, wishing them that they do the things that cause happiness. They're positive and well-intentioned and skillful thoughts, words, and actions. So let's do this practice for our benefactor. And shifting our focus just a little bit from doing this practice for our benefactor to now imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us. And the only thing that we really have to do is just receive all of their loving kindness, receive it all into our own heart with gladness and gratitude, thanking them. You already have the experience of their loving kindness because that's why they're a benefactor. So just receive all of it. So now we'll just imagine our benefactor doing this practice for us. Now, probably the most important part of this meditation is now having loving kindness for ourselves and doing this practice for ourselves. And to do that, you can either just radiate loving kindness back onto yourself, or you can just gently repeat these phrases of loving kindness for yourself. Phrases like, may I be happy. May I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at peace and live at ease in this world. And you can choose one or more of those phrases just to kind of gently repeat over and over. Listening for any tension. And just releasing that tension with a nice big breath. Letting the breath energy give that tension just a little bit of space. So we'll do this for the next few moments, just loving kindness for ourselves. And now finally, we can explore the limitless quality or limitless potential of the heart by doing this practice for all beings in all directions, just radiating upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding the fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, is not born into this world again. So we'll do this practice just for all beings in all directions, and just go as far out as you feel comfortable going. And just open your eyes when you're ready. And let's just take the next couple of moments out in silence as you stretch your arms and you stretch your legs. Keeping that mindfulness of loving kindness about you. And then we will begin. I'm going to look for a book really quickly while you do that. And this is also a good time if you have any questions, anything you want to talk about in the meditation, any experience you had in the meditation, any questions about whatever, get those handy. Okay, looks like we had some people join a little bit late. Hello, Marcel. Hello, John. Wonderful to have everybody here. Thank you. So, really quickly while you're thinking of questions and, whatnot, so even though my education or my Buddhist education is not from the Mahayana school, it's more from the Theravada school. The Mahayana school is fantastic, and it has some wonderful books and teachings. One of which I recited at the beginning of class, the Heart Sutra. Again, this is a very tiny book, but you can go online and they might even have books, when we open back up in the library on the Heart Sutra and the meaning of the Heart Sutra. A lot of these Mahayana teachings are designed purposely to blow your mind. Whereas the Theravada teachings are relatively straightforward, like the Pali Canon is relatively just straightforward in its kind of delivery style. In the Mahayana teachings, they're also repetitive, like Theravada, because they're oral tradition to some degree, but they're designed to just to kind of blow your mind and really, really make you think about it, and spawn all these wonderful, spontaneous realizations and things like this. And it's just chock full of wonderful teachings and sutras that are separate from like the Pali Canon, for example. One again is the Heart Sutra, and the other one is called The Way of the Bodhisattva. And this is I forget exactly the name of the sutra, but this was a book or a sutra by I think he's from the 8th century, Shantideva. Shantideva was such an interesting guy. Let's see when he was philosopher. When was he died? Okay, so he was more from the 7th and 8th century. And so Shantideva, he was from India. He went to school in India. He was a prince, supposedly, and he went to this school. There was this school that was started called Nalanda, and Nalanda is still in India. They're actually still excavating it now. They kind of uncovered the ruins and things like that. It's incredibly old, and so it was a school from, I think, like the 5th or 6th century, something like that. I can't remember when it first started. Maybe earlier than that. And he went to the school, and he was truly an unremarkable student. Lazy, didn't do anything. And his teachers were very frustrated with him, and they said that the only thing he's good for is eating, shitting, and sleeping. Like, they literally said that. He just didn't do anything, didn't participate in class. He just listened and just kind of sat there. And so one day the teacher wanted to shame him. Absolutely wanted to shame him because he didn't think he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything. He wasn't, didn't contribute anything to class. Students knew it. He knew it. And so he said, okay, Shantideva, you think you are too good for all of this? You're going to come up here and you're going to give a talk tomorrow, or, whatever it is. And so he did. And he gave a talk that was so long and absolutely blew the pants and blew the mind of everybody. And that was this sutra. And if you don't, you should read this. I mean, this is absolutely recommended reading. And this is something that you can read. And this is in like 4-line. You see this here? There you go, like 4-line stanzas. Like the whole one. There's several different chapters, one on patience, one on wisdom, that you can probably read like 1,000 times and still not get everything out of it. But this is probably the thing. This is the one line I think that will kind of, it scared me and it blew my mind all at the same time. And this is the first stanza in the chapter on patience. And it says, all good works gathered in 1,000 ages, such as deeds of generosity and offerings to the blissful ones, a single flash of anger shatters them. When I first heard that, like, what? What are you trying to tell me, Shantideva? And so reflect on that. Let me read this again. It's so good. All the good works gathered in 1,000 ages, such as deeds of generosities and offerings to the blissful one, a single flash of anger shatters them. And again, this is the chapter on patience, chapter 6. And the rest of again, this is really, really long. This particular book, there's an introduction and, chapter 1, the first part of the actual sutra starts on page 33. And it goes through page 171. So from 33 to 171, that's all the sutra. Before that is an introduction, and after that is appendices and things like that, dedications, whatever. So go ahead and check that out. They're these wonderful teachings, and you will get so much out of it. I guarantee you. Again, this is just The Way of the Bodhisattva by Shantideva. You can just look it up on like Amazon or whatever, and kind of go ahead and check it out. So go ahead and do that. All right, so we've had plenty of time. So does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have anything that they would like to share about that particular meditation or anything else that we talked about today? Heart Sutra. It's really interesting. I don't really spend a whole lot of time on like the Mahayana teachings, just because I'm focused on the other ones. And but I have them, and every time I read them, they absolutely do their job. They absolutely blow my mind. They absolutely keep me wrapped, and just they really make you think. And I love that. I love to reflect on like the single passages, like the one I just wrote on read. Sorry, I didn't write it. The one I just read on patience and what that means in relationship to patience. Of course, there's plenty of other stanzas on that. that explain kind of what he means, and that we have to be really, really wary and really, really mindful of everything that we do and think and say. Pema Chodron has a wonderful audiobook, Don't Bite the Hook, that goes through Shantideva's Sutra line by line. And she has another book that goes through that. It's called No Time to Lose, A Timely Guide on the Way of the Bodhisattva. So this book kind of goes through the way of the Bodhisattva with the exception of chapter 9, the chapter on wisdom. It is something that at the time she didn't think that she could really write effectively on. She didn't know enough and she wasn't wise enough to really provide commentary on. So, a wonderful example of humility as well in that. And so that's another wonderful book. She has so many wonderful books. And so you really can't go wrong with any of them. But thank you, Gene. I appreciate that. And I like that I could just have it like just right here to my left. I have a bookshelf full of like Buddhist books, so that I can just kind of refer to and kind of grab. Whew. We're all a quiet bunch tonight, which is perfectly fine and perfectly acceptable. You don't have to yap if you don't want to. I can do that. The book that I gave you or showed you, it's like $14.40, I think, on Amazon. So, or again, it could be in our library as well. Or maybe you may be even able to read it online. And the other thing is, and thank you, John, on social media, especially like TikTok, because I just kind of do a lot of scrolling through that these days. There isn't much on Buddhism and mindfulness and even just spirituality in general. There's some about spirituality, and it's really interesting. But a lot of what I hear is not correct. Or they're taking a teaching and they're saying that this is true in all circumstances, and which is really dangerous to say. Like recently there was something that says, stop, if a feeling comes up, you need to feel it fully in all circumstances and all, because it's trying to teach you something, and that's partially true. And so, but what they're saying and the way that they're saying it is, this is true in every possible single occasion. You just have to feel that fully. And it's like, oh, that's something really dangerous to say. And you really need to be careful by kind of dogmatizing a particular teaching and saying that it's absolutely true in every single circumstance, because it's not. In Buddhism, we teach you to feel the energy of the feeling and try to understand it fully. But as you get wiser and you do more loving kindness meditation, mindfulness, you obviously get a lot wiser. You learn to understand which feelings and thoughts you can just ignore. Because the mind is a thought machine, right? The brain is a thought machine. It just thinks thoughts all the time. Most of us have an internal dialogue that's just a thought machine. And not all of those thoughts deserve our attention. And, mindfulness is a wonderful way to understand, well, what deserves proper attention, and what can I ignore? And what can I just leave in the background? So my friend wants me to do TikTok videos on that. And I'm thinking, I bought something to do it, but I haven't done anything like that. But I might. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. It was wonderful to kind of spend this time with you and kind of go over something, something a little bit new. That's like something that I don't often cover. Let's join our palms together at our hearts, please. And may the benefits of this meditation, this discussion, be received by all beings. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen for the radiant, beautiful beings that they are, that you are. Thank you for coming. Woo! All right, guys, we'll see you next time. I may or may not be here next week, but we'll see what happens. Okay. Have a wonderful rest of your week. And if I'm not here, somebody else will be. Have a wonderful rest of your week. See you next time. Bye now.